Yo, what's up, Broncos country? How's it going today, guys? So, me and Muhammad are back to talk about some of the things that happened over the week with, the Dobbins signing, mandatory minicamp. Now that that's over with, pretty much the summer starts. We got 5 weeks of literally no football. Um, Gage today will apparently not be on the show. He had some stuff come up. He couldn't make it this week, but he will be on next week for sure. But first of all, Muhammad, how was your week so far, man?
It was actually pretty good, Eddie. Last week was a little long, but I had a nice Friday evening. Saturday is not bad so far, so pretty good. What about you?
Just working, man. Just working my butt off. Just enjoying the weather, man. It's been nice out here all week. I think Monday it rained a little bit, but that was about it. So, but with all that said, let's just jump right into it. If you guys could please like, comment, subscribe on this video. Also hit that bell notification so you know when we go live. And if you want to, please leave a comment and we can get to it today. Let us know your thoughts on minicamp, what you've heard, what you've seen, and we can get into it today. So, the first thing I want to get into last week we were talking about, J.K. Dobbins came into the Broncos. He visited with the Broncos, I think last Thursday, had dinner with them. And then Friday he went out to the practice facility and, he kind of went around. And from my understanding, Bo Nix was, talking to him, really trying to get him, I guess, to come here. Well, it must have worked because I think it was Tuesday midday sometime is when the news broke that J.K. Dobbins signed 1 year deal with the Denver Broncos. Mohammed, what was your gut reaction to that?
I'm actually excited, Eddie. It's funny because I remember that day you kind of sent me a thing about him signing with the Broncos, and I thought it was real. And then later that evening, he actually signed. That's funny. Yeah, I mean it's only a 1 year deal, $5 million, I guess. It's the base is like 2.7. Um, really, really good value. He's a very good running back if healthy. Um, I kind of listened to his interview. Sounds like a really cool type of dude too. So I'm glad to bring that energy to our running room, right? He's only gonna help veteran presence. Hey, make them all compete. If he's healthy, Eddie, him, RJ Harvey, and whoever is the third running back, that's gonna be really lethal. So let's wait and see. But really good news.
Yeah, I was excited. I kind of figured it was going to happen. People were freaking out, like, "Oh, he left the building without a deal." It's like, yeah, so did Evan Ingram, and he went to visit with our division rival, the Chargers, and he's still like, "Yeah, I'd rather play with Sean Payton and Bo Nix and Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh." So I wasn't too worried about it, but a lot of reports, a lot of podcasts I watched over this last week were talking about it, and I think it's 2.5 million as the base, and it can get up to 5 million with incentives depending on what he does. Like if he rushes for over like 1,000 yards, gets a certain amount of touchdowns or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head what that number is, but you know, overall, I'm happy with the signing. Now you got more depth in the backfield to help Bo Nix, to where Bo Nix is not going to be struggling this year and being our leading rusher in majority of the games. But I also think that Sean Payton, we know he likes running backs by committee. But honestly, on what Sean Payton said this week, it seems like he's only really going to use like two backs this year. I'm sure they're probably going to carry three, but I think he's going to use the main two, and then the third string back is going to be the guy who comes in, whenever both of them need a breather or something. He's like, hey, go out there and pick up some yards or do this or that. And let's get into that for a second. Like right now, Mohammed, on June 14th, what do you think the running back room looks like for the 53-man roster come start of the season? I think there's only going to be three, but who do you think the three are that land on the roster and who gets cut?
Eddie, I really struggled with this, especially now with them signing J.K. Dobbins. That kind of makes it a little harder for me to figure out. I mean, they signed J.K. Dobbins. I mean, we know R.J. Harvey is definitely going to be one. He's not going to get cut or anything. J.K. Dobbins, they just signed him. He's in. Is that third one that I'm not sure if you're asking me, I think it's McLaughlin. Estime is out of the picture. That's what it seems like to me. Um, I disagree with that, Eddie, because I still think that Estime wasn't given enough chance last season. I thought he still needed more time, and by them signing Dobbins, it kind of complicates things. But if we're talking about today, I would say J.K. Dobbins, R.G. Harvey, and McLaughlin.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, Harvey's definitely going to make it. Like all the stuff we've been hearing out of OTAs, rookie minicamp, mandatory minicamp, he's developing the chemistry with Bo Nix with passes out of the backfield. He runs really hard. And J.K. Dobbins, like you're not going to bring him in, like just to cut him in like a month or two, like especially if you're paying him 2.5 million. I know that doesn't really seem like a lot of money, but for running backs, it kind of like running backs, like I mean, I think Saquon's getting paid like 15, 16 million a year or something like that, but he's like the best running back in the game at this point. But with that said, I don't think they're going to bring in Dobbins at this point right now during the offseason just to cut him right after training camp. I don't see that. And it's only a 1-year deal. But I think it will be JK will be the starter to start off the season. And I think throughout the season, as the season progresses, Harvey will take that role over. And then as the third string guy, I think it will be McLaughlin. Because like if one of those two guys need a breather, like I said, McLaughlin, he's got the speed. We know he's fast.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of plays last year. I could say the Bucks game, the one game where Bo Nix actually had a solid game, Broncos' first win last year. Do you remember that play where he pitched it out to McLaughlin? He juked out the defender, made the guy he broke his ankles. And then he had to outrun the other defender to get to the pylon to score a touchdown. Like he's got the speed. So I think he makes the roster. Now that leaves pretty much Estime, Blake Watson, and who's the other one, Muhammad? Tyler Bidet.
Yeah.
As the cuts. Now, I think they might carry one or two of those running backs on the roster. I think one running back gets just outright cut. The other two, I think, make the practice squad. But that's if they clear waivers. If Estime, they try to pass him through waivers, I think he might get snatched up. I think Estime does get snatched up by another team. I think, so if that's the case, if they try to get him through the practice squad, to the practice squad, he might get snatched. And then Blake Watson and Tyler Bidet are the ones on the practice squad, going through the season. So that's what I think is going to happen. And the other thing I wanted to touch on with you, Muhammad, is like I was watching Andrew Mason the other day, and he was saying, well, what do you do? Like, say that does happen. J.K. Dobbins starts the season, and then, Harvey takes over as RB1 by like the midpoint of the way or a couple games in, whatever. But J.K. Dobbins is still balling. Like he gets like over 1,000 yards. He gets like 10 touchdowns or something like that, whatever. By this time next year, next offseason, it's like, would you re-sign Dobbins? Like if he has a really good year in that backfield and he, shows that he can be that RB2 or whatever for the Broncos, do you re-sign him? And if you do, what would the contract look like? Muhammad, what's your opinion on that?
Well, Eddie, I guess it depends on where RG Harvey is, but if we're saying that RG Harvey is actually good running back one, and he's looking good, Dobbins looking really good, I'd probably give him a couple of years. He's what is he, like 28 or something? 27, 28?
26.
26. Okay, so he's still young. I'd probably give him a couple of years, Eddie. I mean, hey, we can use all the help we want. If he's balling, why cut him, or why let him walk and have some other team pick him up? Maybe the Chargers will go ahead and pick him up. We don't want to see that. So I'd probably re-sign him. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'd say if him and Harvey, like that'd be a great season. But at the same time, like if that happened, like if I don't know if Harvey would get over 1,000 yards, but say like Harvey gets like 900 and JK gets like 1,000 something, like you got to think about it this way too. Like how many passes is Bo Nix throwing in a game? How many yards does he have? Because if those guys both have close to 1,000 yards, if over 1,000 yards, Bo Nix probably ain't gonna be throwing a lot.
Nope.
It's probably gonna be a lot more of the run game, which I don't think that's Sean Payton's thing. Like last year, we didn't have a run game at all. Now you could use that to your advantage, but Bo Nix like threw a lot. Like you think they would have tried to run a little bit more last year with Bo Nix being a rookie? No, Sean Payton wants to throw it. Like we know this, and but if that's the case, like I would give Dobbins like maybe a 2-year, $8 million deal. $4 million a year.
Yeah.
He's only 26, so by the time he's 28, he'll, you can move on or decide if you want to keep him if he has a couple of good years. But I think that was what the contract would look like in that scenario. So, but moving on next, we have Devon Vele did not show up for mandatory minicamp. All 3 days he was not there. Um, what I've heard, from what I heard, that the reporter said they seen whenever they were out there talking to the Broncos, during media day, was that he was kind of grabbing at his leg. I can't remember if it was left or right leg, but he was grabbing at his leg. So they think maybe it could have been an ankle sprain, maybe he hurt his calf or whatever. He's been hurt, but Sean Payton already said he will be full go for the start of training camp. What are your thoughts on this, Mohammed?
That was actually kind of like something that kind of concerned me a little bit, Eddie, because he was doing really good this camp. Like everybody was kind of raving about how good he was. Like he's, way better than when he was even last year. He's improved. He's getting that chemistry with Bo Nix. As far as the injury, I looked everywhere and it just says it's undisclosed. I don't know what it is. Like you're saying it might be an ankle or whatever, but it doesn't seem like Sean Payton is really concerned about it. So that gives me a little hope. But the fact that they're not telling us what it is scares me a little bit. But hey, if he's coming back training camp, we shall see what happens. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully it's not a big deal.
Well, in turn, like I like Sean Payton said, he'll be full go. He said pretty much everybody's gonna be full go, including Dre Greenlaw because he hurt himself this past offseason. Everybody's gonna be full go outside of like AJ Perry, the receiver. They said Sean Payton said it might be like a week into training camp before he's actually able to go. So that's good. Like our entire roster is healthy. Everybody's gonna be ready to go for the start of training camp. So that's a good sign. Like before 2023, this is one of the most injury riddled teams in the NFL. And over the past 2 years, going into year three of Sean Payton's regime, it's like, dude, this has been one of the healthiest football teams in the NFL. Like, I'm happy, man. We're going to be able to go into the season full strength, everybody healthy, except for maybe like a practice squad guy and AJ Perry. If he even makes it that far, he might get cut outright at the final 53-man roster. But with that said, though, with Vele being out for mandatory minicamp all 3 days, there's been a surprise, upcomer in the receiving room, and that's Pat Bryant, our third-round pick from this year. From reports I've been gathering, and I want to get your take on this, Mohammed. He's been looking really, really good, and he's been out there just catching everything. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Eddie, I did actually hear a lot about him, and I'm kind of surprised because he's still a rookie, but everything I heard so far that he's all over the place. He runs routes. He's catching the ball. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Cortland Sutton, to be honest with you, which kind of tells me that he's the replacement eventually at some point. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I mean Eddie, he's gonna be good. He's gonna be featured a lot this upcoming season. You know.
I'm excited to see him, man. Like, and that was the other thing I heard is that if Pat Bryant winds up balling out this year and he has a really, really, really good year, we know. Like, I was watching Mike Kliss the other day, and he said he thinks that a deal for Cortland Sutton's going to get done by the start of training camp. Like, I trust Mike Kliss. He's like one of the only big media people for the Broncos I really, really trust on what he says. But this one I have to kind of disagree with. Because if Pat Bryant goes out there, like I think they'll wait on Cortland Sutton. If Pat Bryant goes out in training camp and preseason and he balls and then he has a great year, like I could totally see the Broncos moving on and Pat Bryant taking over the Cortland Sutton slot. I really could. Now, am I saying that's 100% going to happen? No. I mean, they could still have Pat Bryant. He could ball and they could still keep Cortland Sutton. But I don't know. Like, if you ain't got to give Cortland Sutton more money, like I'm not trying to sound like an ass here, but it's like, he's 30 years old and you still got the people, you got John Franklin Myers that wants a new deal. Zach Allen wants a new deal. You're going to have to find a new D tackle after next year because DJ Jones only signed a 1-year deal. You got to pay Nick Benito. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's another one on there. I'm forgetting that's going to want to get paid again soon. So it's like, you got other contracts of younger players that you're going to need to sign to keep on this roster. Especially on defense. If you want to keep your defense the way it is, you're going to have to at least sign Zach Allen and Nick Benito to contracts.
Yeah.
So, if Pat Bryant goes out there and balls, I can totally see the Broncos moving on from Cortland Sutton, or maybe even possibly trading him midseason to get a pick out of him, to where they got their replacement for Cortland Sutton, a big body wide receiver that has really good hands, that catches everything that comes to him. So that's just my opinion on that. And that kind of brings me into my next point with Bo Nix looking really, really sharp. Like all the reports I've heard, like he's had one bad day. I think it was like the first day of minicamp. But after that, he, got into his groove and he's out there slinging it. And we heard Sean Payton talk about this the other day, that he's literally digesting the playbook. He's got it down. Like he doesn't have to, get told again, like, hey, this is the play call. He's able to get it, spit it out quick, and boom. Last year, with him being a rookie, with Sean Payton's playbook being as, in depth and how hard it is to learn, Bo Nix did struggle a little bit last year with that. But this year, Sean and both Bo Nix and Sean and even Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator, were like, yeah, he's having no trouble with that whatsoever now. He's getting the play and he's spitting it out and boom, we're good to go. What are your thoughts on this, Mohammed?
I mean, absolutely, Eddie. I mean, from all the stuff that I've read, heard, and actually seen, he's very, very comfortable. And it's like it's mentally there for him. It's not a challenge anymore. He kind of knows the playbook. Add that, Eddie, with all the toys that he was given this season. Oh my God, Eddie. I can't wait for the season to start. And our defense is going to be better. I don't think people really understand what that's going to be like, Eddie. I can't wait. But Bo Nix, yeah, he's very comfortable. He's very confident. He's actually like a coach out there, Eddie, with the wide receivers, telling them where to go. And, he's not a rookie anymore.
No, I get it. And honestly, I hope Bo Nix turns into the next. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I mean, we've already heard Sean Payton compare him to Drew Brees, but I want him to be like a Peyton Manning / Tom Brady. I want him to be the kind of guy like, do I want him to rely on his athleticism sometimes and his ability? Of course, yeah. Everybody wants that in their quarterback. But and we know Bo is really, really smart up here. Like that's all he does. Like it's family and ball is basically all it is. And I just want him to have that to where he ain't got to rely on his arm strength so much. He ain't got to rely on his athleticism so much. I want him to be able to dissect the defense, kind of like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning did. Gets up to the line. Oh yeah, they're in cover 4, and this safety's going to shift down or whatever. They're in cover 2, or this safety's going to shift down or go back or whatever. I want him to be able to dissect the defense like that, because that's how quarterbacks last a long time in this league, instead of relying constantly on their athleticism or their running ability, which I like to see Bo do some more running this year. But I want him to be like that kind of pocket quarterback that can literally just go out there and be like, oh, yeah, this defense is in cover 2. Okay, I know exactly what they're doing. I'm going to go here with the ball. That's what I want Bo Nix to, really, really learn. And it seems like he's getting it. Like in his first year, he did really, really well. This year, he's already got the offense down. He ain't got to worry about it. Now just work on, dissecting defenses, and this kid's going to be freaking elite. Like he could be like a top quarterback by the end of his career if he learns how to do that quickly and proficiently. But the next thing I want to talk about, you kind of brought it back up when you said the defense. I kind of forgot about this. The Broncos have a really, really, really great, like it's kind of a hard decision and it kind of sucks, but it's good in the sense that their pass rushing room, like, dude, they have so many pass rushers. They got Jonathan Cooper, they got Nick Benito, who are great. You got Dondre Tillman and Jonah Ellis. That those 4 guys together last year with the defensive line that we had, got, what was it, 63 sacks, the most in Denver Broncos history. And then you had Q Robinson, who I've been hearing has been really, really, really good. And then the undrafted guy from Missouri they got, I forgot what his name was, but he's been looking really good. Like, what are the Broncos going to – it's a great problem to have, but what are they going to do? A lot of people think that they're only going to carry 5 pass rushers. Of course, Jonathan Cooper, Nick Benito. You're going to keep DeAndre Tillman most likely. Like after that, though, it's like who you going to keep? Jonah Ellis? You going to keep Q Robinson? You going to keep this undrafted free agent? Like who would you want to keep on this pass rushing group because it is really really deep.
It's a good problem to have, Eddie, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
And see, Eddie,
as you
if
get after the quarterback.
yeah, if Greenlaw is healthy, and Singleton, and if they got that middle of the defense, Eddie, then we can blitz as much as we want. I love blitzing. If it's up to me, the defense will be blitzing the whole game, right? But I mean, you
Well,
really can't. But if
that's the
Greenlaw is
other thing I heard too.
Eddie, can't
That's
win.
the other thing I heard too. Like if you got safeties and corners that you can fully trust in man-to-man coverage, you can send so many blitzes. Like if you can trust Sertan, Moss, Barron, McMillan, Hufanga, uh, who's the other guy? Brandon Jones, PJ Locke, Chris Abrams Drain, who really kind of came into his own last year a little bit. Like if you can trust your corners and safeties to play man coverage, a lot. Like you're like, yeah, I know I can trust this guy. He's not gonna let no one get past him. He's gonna, not let this guy get away from him. You know how crazy the Broncos could be with their blitz packages this year? Like really insane with that. If they trust other guys on the back end, dude, we might be seeing some crazy freaking blitzes out of man coverage this year. A lot of crazy blitzes, and it's gonna be fun. We're gonna be getting after the quarterback. The quarterback's not gonna have anywhere to go with the ball. It's just gonna be a fun freaking thing to watch, dude. I cannot wait for that. And honestly, oh my god, dude, I just can't wait for this defense is going to be probably. I've heard reports that this defense is going to be better than the 2015 Broncos defense from Super Bowl 50.
They got the
So
talent. You got the talent.
it's going to be no one's going to be able to throw a run on us. And then Bo Nix going into his second year with everything we've heard about him, dude. Like this offense is going to be scoring a buttload of points, and the defense is going to be holding teams. Like it's not even crazy to say that Philadelphia, Vic Fangio and their defense is going to be able to stop Bo Nix. Like it could happen. Like teams like ours that are on that brink, people are like, yeah, we don't know. They might make the playoffs, but blah blah blah. Like these are the kind of teams that you see in like past and in the past that would actually be the ones that come out of nowhere and everybody's like, whoa, where'd this team? I mean, we thought they were going to be good, but where the heck did they come from? Where'd this come from? Like, I'm excited for the season, man. I cannot wait for it. But the next thing I wanted to touch on, Mohammed, I wanted to get your opinion on RJ Harvey out there balling in freaking OTAs, rookie minicamp, and mandatory minicamp. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, Eddie, they're not wearing pads, but I'm telling you, like he catching that ball from the backfield, the cuts he be making, you know, he's low to the ground. Like, what are you gonna do with him? I can't wait to actually see him in action. But from everything I've seen, he's the real deal, Eddie. He was not picked by accident by Sean Payton, you know.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. It's not just the running is what's really, really good. Like, granted, again, it's only rookie minicamp, it's only OTAs, it's only mandatory minicamp. We'll get a lot more information, of course, once training camp starts in preseason. But just like Pat, I can't remember if both of them done, but both Pat Bryan and RJ Harvey hardly drop passes at all. Like they even bad passes, whatever, they maybe drop maybe one or two passes between both of them combined through that entire stretch. Like Harvey's catching everything out of the backfield. He's developing a chemistry with Bo Nix out of the backfield that's like holy crap. And you know, and we know how Sean loves to run those bubble screens. He likes to throw to running backs out of the backfield. He likes doing those short intermediate routes. You know what I mean? That's what Sean Payton does. And he's developing that chemistry with, RJ Harvey. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see this year. We're going to be seeing Harvey running the ball a lot. We're going to be seeing him catching the ball a lot. Dobbins, I think he's going to be more of that, probably that back that they're going to keep in a lot on probably, like passing attempts to block for Bo Nix, because he's really good at that. And he could teach like RJ Harvey and them how to do that, even though RJ Harvey's kind of a short back. But it's pretty cool watching Bo Nix. And that is leading into our next thing that Bo Nix and Evan Ingram everything I've seen, everything I've heard, they have developed a really, really good chemistry through this offseason program. What are your thoughts on this, Mohammed?
I mean, it's not just Eddie. It's not just the whole tight end thing. He's like an elite receiver. I've seen him. He doesn't drop balls in the middle of the field. We did not have that in a while, Eddie. You know, that's just gonna make Bonek's life so easy. If the defense tried to act funny, you'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's a security blanket right there." More weapon. And I don't. It just to me, it seems like they've been playing together for a while. And it doesn't seem like that. That chemistry
Yeah.
just they clicked so fast. It's amazing to me, Eddie.
And as we know, Sean Payton, when he does throw like intermediate deep down the field, it's usually over the middle. That was the reason why he was going so nuts when he had Russell Wilson here in 2023. Because Sean Payton had plays designed for, guys to come open over the middle of the field, and Rush just could not see it. Evan Ingram being that tight end that thrives over the middle, and now you have a quarterback in Bo Nix that likes to stand in the pocket and deliver the ball over the middle. He'll throw over the middle. Bo Nix ain't scared. We've seen it all a lot last year. Like, dude, it's gonna be so much fun watching that connection between Ingram and Bo Nix. Like, people are gonna be like, because teams are gonna be like, who do we cover? Do we double cover Sutton? Do we double cover, Pat Bryant, Vele, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, or do we double cover Evan Ingram? Somebody's always gonna be open on this team, and like in that case, it's like, okay, now it's up to the quarterback, to find the guy that's open and throw it to him. Well, Bo Nix, as we know, he's really, really good at processing and finding the open guy. So good luck to teams trying to stop this offense from throwing downfield. That's all I can say. Or even, just medium way down the field. Like, good luck. Like, you're going to have to double cover at least either Sutton or Evan Ingram or one of these other guys I mentioned, and you're going to leave somebody wide open for Bo Nix just to hit. And we know Bo Nix is good at processing. He's good at finding the open receiver and getting the ball out within like 3 seconds. He's really good at it. He's not like Russ that drops back, hits his back foot, and just sits there and stares and then rolls out, or just, takes the shotgun snap and rolls out immediately. Bo Nix sits there, he surveys the field, and he finds the open guy. So all I can say is good luck for the defenses that play us this year. I think Bo Nix finally having the same offensive play caller for the first time in his career, back-to-back seasons, and another year in Sean Payton's system, and him and Bo Nix having the second year together and them being able to grow and learn more, this offense is going to come out on fire. And the great thing about it is the NFL literally gave this season to us on a silver platter, because you're opening up against two defenses. I mean, maybe in Indianapolis you could say, oh, okay, they're solid, but they're still not like, an Eagles defense. They're not like I guess you could say maybe a Chiefs defense or a Chargers defense. You got two layups basically the first 2 weeks of the season in Tennessee here at home, and then Indianapolis on the road. Like, you got all the training camp, all the preseason, and the first 2 games of the season for them to really get going, the offense. And once they click, good luck to stop them. That's all I can say. So, but the last thing I wanted to touch on, which I've been seeing a lot of people freak out about this, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, Mohammed. Both RJ Harvey and Barron, the corner that we drafted, our first and second round picks this year, have not signed their rookie deals. They did sign, like injury clauses, so they could be out there to practice. So that way, if they get hurt while they're practicing without signing their deal, they'll still get paid. But are you concerned at all about those two not signing their contracts yet? Because a lot of people thinking this is like the Stewart deal with Cincinnati, where he's holding out, which is not the case. These guys are actually out there practicing. You don't hear rumblings like, oh, Denver's not paying me. They got certain language in my contract, which is why Stewart's not practicing for the Bengals, because they tried to put in like, oh, if you do certain, if you mess up or something or you're a bust, we can take all your money back. But that's not the case with here in Denver. But what are your thoughts on this, Mohammed?
Eddie, I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit concerning to me that like what's going on with the deal. What's wrong with the deal? Just go ahead and sign it. Is there something you don't like? But it's like you said, they're not holding out, so that's a good thing. But I'm sure soon enough they will sign their deal. It's just a matter of time. It could be like you said, it could be something in the language, it could be like their agent is saying, no, wait, we need to change this or change that. But I'm pretty sure pretty soon before training camp we'll hear something about them signing their deals. hopefully.
I'd say probably in the next couple over the summer break for while the Broncos are off, those deals will get done. Like from my understanding, there's no bad blood between the agents of those two and George Payton and the Broncos. Like, um, I think there is just a couple of things are still working out, but it's nothing major. They're both going to sign by the time training camp starts. I'd say probably within the next 2 weeks, both those guys will be signed onto the roster. And, there's no worries. So anybody that's worrying about that, I wouldn't really be too concerned. They will sign by the time training camp starts. Honestly, I was watching Andrew Mason. He's like, yeah, they're going to sign within the next 2 weeks. So, uh, but the last thing I wanted to get into, Muhammad, before we get out of here tonight, but we're gonna, cut this show a little short tonight, guys, because we got stuff to do. Muhammad's got stuff to do, and so do I. Is I don't know if you heard about this, Muhammad, but the Walton Penner Group. Actually, I heard of this later in this past week, like later in the week this past week. Is that the Walton Penner Group bought a bunch of land just south and on the east side of 25, just south and southeast of where the stadium currently sits. They bought a bunch of property, right there, basically still in Denver, downtown Denver, and they haven't said anything official yet. But it's like, why would the Walton Penner Group, buy all that land for no reason? It's speculated that the Broncos, lease for Empower Field here is up in 2030. There's rumblings that they might be building a new state of the art, which this portion I really wouldn't like too much. Like a new stadium, basically. They're gonna build like right here next to Ball Arena on, just south of it. It's gonna be like a big sports thing, like all sports, like with Ball Arena. I think the ring right or the arena there for the Avalanche where they play, and then they're going to move the Broncos over a little bit. It's going to be like a giant sports, area to where you can go to do all this stuff. There's going to be bars, there's going to be restaurants, there's going to be all kinds of stuff there. And they talk about, building a new stadium with a retractable roof. Like, I don't know how much I like that personally, but what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, Eddie, I did hear a little bit, not a lot about this, but I mean, it's definitely got to be a stadium. Otherwise, why would they buy that? Why would they buy all that land, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know about I don't know about the design, Eddie, but hey, I would actually like the idea if they build a new one. I mean, look at the Raiders. Not my favorite team, but look at their stadium. It looks really nice. I kind of like it. You know.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like the Walton Penner Group kind of wants to be like you know how the Cronkies, the people that own the guy that owns the Rams in LA, which by the way, my hometown of St. Louis freaking hates the St. Louis Rams and hates Stan Kroenke now for leaving St. Louis. But they built that stadium down there in Los Angeles, and they're kind of wanting to do the same thing in Denver, where the Denver Broncos Stadium can host the NFL draft, during that time of year. They can host Super Bowls. Like, I'm all for a new stadium, and I understand that it's going to have a roof on it for them to, pretty much, the Broncos Stadium wants to host a Super Bowl here in Denver. They're going to have a roof. They're not going to want to play a Super Bowl in cold weather like they used to, like 20 years ago. Like, they would play the Super Bowl in cold weather and they would just do it. Nowadays, it's like if you're playing up north somewhere, like in Minnesota or New York or hell, even Las Vegas, like they want it to be indoor to where the cold's not going to affect the game. So, if as long as it's a retractable roof, basically, like to where you can still go to games like during the regular season and you can still get snow on the field. Like I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Like, and if they want to have the Super Bowl here, great. And then they could just have the roof closed for the Super Bowl. I'm fine with that. But as long as they can still have a retractable roof to where they can open it and close it during regular season games and the Super Bowl, I'm fine with that. And, host the draft, that'd be great too. I've always wanted to go to an NFL draft.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah.
And if Denver can host one, you better believe I will be there. But what were your thoughts on that, Mohammed, about, maybe the Broncos Stadium hosting the Super Bowl or the NFL draft?
Hell yeah, Eddie. I'm all for that. Come on. The city of Denver deserves that. Our team deserves that. I mean, we need this recognition. I mean, see all these other cities, get their, I mean, think about the business too, Eddie. If you're hosting the Super Bowl, it's really good for Denver, good for Colorado. Get some recognition. So absolutely, man, they are going to build a new one, Eddie, and they got the money for it, and they don't have any problem spending the money. So it's going to
Nope.
be good.
And that's the thing. Like I've told you before in the past, and I've told people out here on the video, on our chats, and on the internet that Denver, like the reason why the Broncos don't get any kind of recognition at all, even when they're good, like is because Denver is a flyover city. We're a city that's literally out in the middle of nowhere. Like the next closest cities to us are like, I think Las Vegas, and then east of us it's like Kansas City, like big cities, like cities that actually have other sports teams. I mean, you got Omaha, Nebraska, but it's like, you know, like Las Vegas and Kansas City, and those are both like 600 miles away, 800 miles away. Like Denver is literally out in the middle of nowhere. No one cares about our sports teams, the Avalanche, the Rockies, the Nuggets, the Broncos. No one cares. But if the Walton Penner Group, who's by the way the richest owners in the NFL, can build a new stadium. I mean, they're already like I went down there the other day. They're literally adding on so much. The training facility is going to look so much nicer after this year. Like you said yourself, they have no problem spending the money.
Yep.
If they could build a new stadium and put the Broncos are the biggest thing out here in Denver. I can tell you that they're bigger than CU, the Buffs. They're bigger than the Avalanche. They're bigger than the Rockies. They're bigger than the Nuggets. Denver is the Broncos city. Like this is the football city. Basically, what I'm saying is that they can build that, get that state of the art, stadium that can host the draft, can host the Super Bowl, host all these, cool events, big events, whatever. Then Denver might actually start getting some respect. The Broncos might actually start getting some respect, and we'll get talked about more, kind of like the Cowboys, like, or the Chiefs. Like if we start winning, we'll get talked about like the Chiefs or the Giants or the Jets. Even though the Jets are a garbage franchise, they're a New York team, so they get talked about all the time. Same with the Jets, same with the Chargers. Even though they don't have no fans out there in LA, they get talked about more than the Broncos. Like heck, I don't know if you've seen it, but even Mark Schlereth picked the Chargers to win the division this year. An ex-Bronco. I love Mark Schlereth to death. I love his takes. He's funny as hell to watch. But he picked the Chargers to win the division this year and take down the Chiefs. Even our own ex-players in the media are like, don't even think we can do it. They give us no respect. So I hope the Walton Penner Group does do this, and we can start hosting like big events like the Super Bowl and the draft. And maybe the Broncos will finally start getting some recognition and start getting some respect in the damn national media, because I'm getting tired of seeing it. Even when we won the Super Bowl 10 years ago, like they were like, oh, the Broncos are going to get crushed by the Steelers. I'll never forget this. Oh, Tom Brady and the Patriots are going to destroy Peyton Manning and the Broncos, beat them. Oh, the Panthers and Cam Newton are going to absolutely just light up this defense and Peyton Manning. We kicked their ass in the Super Bowl. Still no respect. And the last thing I'm going to touch on, this is kind of like a little side note. Like that year after we won the Super Bowl in 2015, usually, and I know this is going to sound silly, but it's kind of gotten to me ever since, is like every year when the new Madden game comes out, like the league MVP or somebody that was in the Super Bowl or the team that won the Super Bowl or a player that won Super Bowl MVP, whatever, was always on the cover of Madden. I think it was Madden 16 was the Madden that came out after, if I remember right. Or I'm sorry, Madden 17, I think it was. Madden 16, Madden 17, I'm sorry. Madden 17 didn't have a single Bronco after them winning the Super Bowl. That kind of ticked me off. That just shows a sign of disrespect that this team receives, even when they're good and they're champions. So, but that's it for us tonight, guys. Any final thoughts, Mohammed, that you have tonight?
I'm just excited, Eddie. Excited. Everything is kind of going with the plan, that Sean Payton put in place. I can't wait for the season to start, man. Go Broncos.
Yeah, I can't wait either, man. I'm pretty sure training camp tickets going, well, they're not really, you don't have to buy them, but you do have to get one. I think they go up for sale here in the next like couple of weeks. I'm going to be out at training camp every day this year as much as I can to see what I can see, and update you guys on what I see. But I'm excited for the season too, man. Like me and you talked a few weeks ago. My prediction still hasn't changed yet. That might change once training camp and preseason starts, but I'm still got the Broncos going 13-4 this season, and I am so ready for the season to start. Like we only got a few more months, guys, and the season's going to be here. But that's it for us tonight. Please like, comment, subscribe on this video. Also hit that bell notification so you know to go live. Next week, Gage will be on here with us, and we'll have a lot more news to talk about next week. We'll talk to him, get his opinions and thoughts on certain things. So, Mohammed, it was great talking to you, man. I'll talk to you again next week.
Likewise, Eddie. Take care.
All right, take it easy, guys.